I mean, that was all right, wasn't it? Leeds United have just beaten Ipswich 4-0 in the EFL Championship, and I am very happy with the result. I'm going to go through the match chronologically, do a little bit of analysis stuff, look at what we really learned from this match, what we learned about Ipswich, what we learned about ourselves, and I'm going to start off with the starting lineup, and it includes you. Subscribe, be in my starting lineup. That'd be hugely appreciated. I'm just trying to grow this channel. 500 subs is the goal right now, then 1,000. We'll see. Hope you can join me. Anyway, the actual first 11 was entirely unchanged. Completely no differences between anybody, which I think made sense. As I mentioned in my pre-match preview, I think Piru was the perfect person for this match over Willie Gnonto, just based on the way that he plays, and he scored a goal, and he played quite well. So I'm just going to let him have that, I think. And remember as well, in the comments down below, not the comments, the description down below, I've linked the player ratings form for the match, so you can go to that, take a look, rate all the players, and I'll create a video on that in the next few days. So, in terms of the bench, there were a few little changes. Jaden Anthony wasn't on the bench, he was ill. However, Junior Firpo and Jan Poveda have returned. Poveda from international duty, Firpo from injury, and Firpo didn't look too bad, but we'll get to it. And at this point, the pre-match jitters were well and truly back. I was spooked, I'll admit it. As I mentioned in my pre-match preview, we had a very specific tactical plan that we needed to follow, or we could be in serious trouble, and I didn't know if we would or not. And then things started to happen. It was kick-off, and there was a very clear tactical plan. The plan was obviously to invite the press onto us, be clever with the balls behind, because James and Somerville are faster than their defenders are, especially when Leif Davis is bombing up the pitch and leaving a gap behind him. You'll notice that throughout the first half we used a hell of a lot of Dan James, and that was purely because there was a big gap behind Leif Davis, and Dan James just had freedom to roam a little bit. And then quite early on, earlier than I expected to happen, we got the first goal. Nice little header from Pascal Struijk. It was very opportunistic because it came after a save from a Joel Piru header. Very good save as well from Hladky, I have to admit. But it was interesting to watch. He ran from next to the penalty spot, sort of went around another group of players to lose his marker, and then just sort of arrived at the post. Good timing from him. Ended up in a goal. Very happy with it. And then we got back to the sort of the normal run of play, because from this point we'd scored from a set piece, but we didn't necessarily know how we were in open play. And I think Kamara played a big role in the way that we played today. Kamara was often higher up the pitch than Joel Piru. And I think that really showed our pressing ability and pressing emphasis, because Glenn Kamara is someone that is a super energetic midfielder. He will happily press all over the place and cause people problems. And he did. And a lot of the time that meant he would press a little bit higher than Joel Piru, because Piru is not that fast and is not that confident in the press and is happy to drop into defence a little bit. And that just meant that we were a little bit more energetic at the top, and I think that was quite a clever thing to do. I've also mentioned, and this is my sort of through the match notes, so I might veer into them from time to time. Sorry, hiccups. Leif Davis was incredibly targetable for Dan James. Leif Davis kept being drawn up the pitch, kept trying to sort of double up against Archie Gray with their left winger, and it didn't work out. It just left holes, and Dan James was able to just rag them around a little bit. And it just worked quite well, to be honest, in my opinion. Even though Dan James didn't score and didn't get an assist, what he did was huge. We also managed to stay very tight at the back. We didn't concede a single shot on target off the top of my head. There was one shot that hit the post, one shot that was just dragged wide, but neither of them were even inside the box. They did not threaten us. And this is another thing that I mentioned in the preview. If we're able to limit the shots that they take, because they are a team that massively excels their XG, if we're able to make sure they don't get that XG in the first place, we're all good. On the subject of XG, 2-0. And this is technically a goal that I don't think gets any XG for us, because it was a Leif Davis own goal from a surging Somerville run. Somerville picked up the ball, I think it was in our half, pushed onwards incredibly hard, incredibly fast. There was a point earlier in the play where Piru was clearly asking for the ball, and that could have been the right move at the time, I'm not too sure. Looked quite annoyed at Somerville, but he didn't look too annoyed when Somerville had gotten to the byline, cut the ball back, and it just bounced off Leif Davis into the goal. Very good, Davis. Always knew you were Leeds. We kept that high intensity up again and again and again with those presses, with the incredibly fast runs in behind, and that eventually won us a penalty with another very good Davis moment. Davis clipped Somerville when he was trying to come across him. Very obviously a penalty. I don't know why he was trying to appeal for it to not be, but it was pretty blatantly a pen, and it led to 3-0. Crescencio Somerville got an assist, got a goal. Really good match for Crescencio Somerville, in my opinion. I think he'll be up there with the man of the match shouts. Let me know what you think by filling out that player ratings form, though. And then we came into halftime. Scoring that immediately before halftime sort of cemented the fact that the game was effectively done. It made the match 3-0. It's really hard to drop it from a 3-0 lead, although if we were going to drop it against anyone, it'd be Ipswich. And I had a few summarising notes at halftime. First up, not to say I told you so, but transitions. My entire Ipswich's secret weakness video was transitions are where we are going to win, because when they have more of the ball and when they are higher up the pitch, they leave gaps, and we exploit those gaps, and we win because we exploit those gaps. I will be taking apologies from the Coventry fans in the comments down below. Not Coventry, Ipswich. It's fine. Yeah. And I think it was a perfect match for Piru, again. Because this was written before he even scored, but he was doing that thing where he arrives late on in the box, part of a move. He's slower than Somerville and Nonto, but that means that when he does arrive in the box... Someone very angry with a horn outside. When he does arrive into the box, the ball is already there to be cut back and is there to be finished. And it was a good match for Piru to play, and I think he performed pretty effectively. Then we get into the second half, and Piru immediately proved what I was saying with an incredible chance that hit the bar. Now, initially I thought, I just wish Piru could have kept it down a little bit more so it could have gone in, but on the first replay that I saw, the keeper saved it. There was sort of a side angle on from it, and the ball visibly changes angle just a little bit, but enough to mean that when it hits the bar and goes out, rather than hitting the bar and looking like that Frank Lampard not goal from the World Cup that one time. But as much as Piru must have been disappointed at this point, another goal. And it's Piru, 4-0. Fan Dabby Dozy, and Archie Gray played a significant part in this build-up, as did Jorginho Rutter. Gray carries the ball really effectively out of the defence, plays the ball into Rutter, who struggles and fights to win it. Somehow he's done that thing again where he's been tackled 2 or 3 times, but he still managed to say, no, actually, I've got this ball now, and I'm going to create a chance. Gets tackled again, but the ball goes directly to Piru, and he just fires it home. And it was very nice. And after that, it was so good to see that we didn't just relent. We kept the pressure up. There was no point in which we just said, fine, you can have the ball. If we concede one, it's okay, because we kept the standard as high as we could. And that is key to winning these matches. Nonto came on for James, completely understandable. James had run his absolute bollocks off throughout the match. And then we got a really nasty challenge from Broadhead on Archie Gray. And I think, in my opinion, that's arguably a red card. Mid-upper shin height, studs up, clearly knew he wasn't getting the ball. I think he's lunged in deliberately to do harm there. And it's a challenge that annoyed me at the time, and I'm thinking back, like, was I overreacting? No, because it still annoys me now. Probably a red card, but I can understand why the ref hasn't given it. And that's where I think some damage control came in from Ipswich, where they've said, right, Morsey is a single yellow card away from missing the next 2 matches. Maybe we take him off. Maybe we take off Broadhead because he's just got a yellow card for a very, very vicious challenge. We also made some more subs at this point. Grove and Firpo came on. Kamara and Spence came off. Again, this is just making sure we've got a little bit of rotation, we've got a little bit of fitness. Grove on for Kamara means that we're doing a little bit less playmaking stuff, but Grove still has that pressing energy. Firpo on for Spence could just be a matter of getting match minutes. It's 4-0 at that point, and Firpo sort of impressed me. He did quite well. But then again, we were in the game management phase. I don't think either side were expending that much energy trying to get another goal. Bamford and Mateo Joseph came on next with Rutter and Pirro off. I quite like seeing the Bamford-Joseph pairing up top, to be honest. It's sort of Rutter and Pirro-esque in its own way, in that neither of them are the pure 9. They're both doing a lot of pressing, they're both doing a lot of movement, and it could be something that we see in the Peterborough match in the FA Cup. It'd be a very, very weird, like... I don't know, I think that's the match where we can do a little bit of experimenting. Throughout the match, I also noted Ampadu was absolutely imperious. His control of the midfield was incredible, and if you can keep on doing that in the coming weeks, we will be completely fine. He didn't look like someone that's played all 23 matches so far this season, and that is an absolute testament to his fitness. And that was effectively full-time. 4-0 to Leeds United, a very high, very aggressive pressing match that worked out pretty well for us, to be fair. The gap at the top of the table is now down to 7. They have Leicester to play twice within a month. We're ahead of them on goal difference. I feel like we're in a good position to keep chasing Ipswich down as long as we keep our focus and we really do everything we can. If we perform like we did today against every other team this season, we'll win the league. It's not necessarily going to happen, but that's the dream. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please please comment what you thought down below. Please fill out that player ratings form, and importantly, subscribe. It would be hugely appreciated, especially for a channel that is still this young and small. Hope you enjoyed. I will see you later. We're going up. We're just going up.